Hey, you amazing human beings. After 14 years, I'm finally getting a new coffee table and I'm so excited. It's ridiculous how excited I am. It's taken a really long time for me to, I don't even know how to describe it, to detach my sentimental, emotional stuff from our previous current coffee table that we've had for 14 years. Back in 2009, my husband and I made this really big adventure and we moved down south. We moved from North Yorkshire down to Plymouth, Devon, and it was a really big move. We didn't go with a lot of stuff. We'd already managed to rent a 1-bedroom apartment in the city centre. It was an amazing apartment. It was so roomy, but we went with this coffee table that I bought in the Argos sale for £15. We went with a bed frame, a blow-up mattress, a mattress for the bed, and a TV, and boxes of books and clothes and pans. And I think that was pretty much it. We didn't have a lot of stuff. What we did have was stuff that I'd had left over from university and any bits and pieces my husband had from his bar work and when he previously had his own place as well. So we went with literally hardly anything, and when we were down in Plymouth we built up our home, and over the last 10 years we had this really great collection, and it's only been now we've gone past the 10-year mark that we started to replace things because everything was lasted so well. And this coffee table has been in every move we've done, and I think we've moved about 7 times, not including the Plymouth move. So 8 moves. This table has made 8 moves, and I love this table, and my husband's wanted to replace it for a couple of years. I've been umming and ahhing about it, and mostly it's been because I know once we've replaced it, the table has to go. We can't keep it or put it anywhere else. We don't have room in our home now to put it anywhere else, and it has to go. And so, like I said, it's been a couple of years work of detaching my sentimental and emotional feelings to this coffee table, because it was one of the first 2 things I purchased for our new home when we moved down to Plymouth. I got that, and I spent £15 on a coffee table, and I think 45 or 50 quid on a kettle, and that kettle didn't even last a year, I don't think. Maybe it lasted a couple of years, but that coffee table lasted way longer than that kettle did. And so now, new coffee table. I'm so excited. So it's been a bit of a spendy August. We bought some new pans, and yeah, the pans and the coffee table are things we bought for the house, and then a couple of little bits from IKEA for the house and stuff as well, but nothing exciting as the coffee table and the pans. But this coffee table is going to be so good because it means I can work in the living room when I'm not well, and I'm so excited. So yeah, let's get on with this.
Our coffee table arrived 2 days early. I managed to drag it into our living room, and my husband decided in the evening, when he said he wasn't going to build it, to actually build it. So I just got to sit and watch him build our coffee table, which actually didn't take as long as expected either, which was really good. And here's the little finished, and I'll show you what it looks like properly in the morning. But yay, best husband ever.
After 14 years, our love affair is finally over. Goodbye, coffee table. Our new coffee table is fabulous. I'm very happy with it. I got a very nice setup going on. Now I have this very awesome coffee table that I can put storage stuff in it, so I can hide stuff in it, and I can lift it up to work on, which is great because I tend to work in the living room for most of August when I'm well enough to work. I've written a newsletter, but I've turned it into a Substack as well, about me in August and my feelings on it, so I will link it below if you want to check it out and share your opinions on August if you're an online business owner. And yeah, so for most of August I've been really unwell. When I have been well, I've been working in the living room. I literally just went back to my office the other day for a co-writing call, and that's the first time I've been in there since, I don't know, honestly do not know, it's been a while since I've been in there. My husband and I are kind of like, should I give up my office and make it a proper guest room? But then we don't really get any guests and we're not at the baby stage or anything at the moment, so it's kind of a bit awkward. We don't know what to do with the room really. But because I'm getting back into my writing, I end up being back in my office again anyway, especially if I'm getting back into YouTube. So it might end up being useful again. We'll see how it goes. I wanted to share my project that I started last year when I was in a really bad mental health place last year and I got therapy. There was like two parts to my therapy. The first part was that I had like a well-being practitioner, which wasn't like a proper therapist, and we kind of went through like, you know, the basics, like understanding your values and accepting that where you are now isn't where you thought you would be, and coming to terms with that, and life purpose and that sort of stuff. So we went through kind of the basics. And you know, one of the things that kept cropping up when we were talking was how I had always wanted to write a book. Like, tons of people want to do this. It's not a unique wish. Lots of people want to do it. And I had an idea to take it was a 21-day course that I created back in 2019 and turn it into a book and maybe expand on it in so many different ways. So I imported that project in, I'm just looking at my Notion word tracker, in the 6th of June 2022, and when I imported all the words that I had, and I think I might have done some writing as well at the time, there was 5,902 words when I started my Project MJ. It's called Project MJ. So when I started Project MJ, the 6th of June in 2022, I ended up with 5,902 words in my first session, and I put my goal as 30,000 words because when I looked online, it's a non-fiction book. When I looked at online, generally it said non-fiction books should be somewhere between 30 to 55,000 words. They're a lot less dense than a fiction book. And at the time, I also then decided to convert another project that I was working on that I'd started in 2019 at really different times. So Project MJ started as a 21-day self-care challenge. It was a free challenge I ran back in February 2019. And then Journal Your Way is something that I keep talking about and then never finishing it. And I started that in the summer of 2019 as well. And when I imported that into, I could put it all together properly, I started that again on the 4th of July 2022. So the idea originally was that Journal Your Way was going to be a book as well, like an ebook, and I wasn't planning to put it on Amazon. I was just going to put it on my website and have it as a book. But then I was like, do you know what? I hardly ever actually use ebooks that I buy from people's websites as actual ebooks and read them on my Kindle or anything like that. I end up just reading them on my laptop and stuff. So I kind of thought maybe it's better to turn it into like a course thing. But I hadn't finished it, and I was determined to try and finish it last summer. So there are quite a few sessions where I was writing. Like, some sessions I wrote 1,588 words, a couple of sessions I wrote 253 words, 695 words, 1,630 words, 2,311 words, 617 words, 145 words. So I did a lot of writing for that. And shall we just see where we got up to with that if you're interested? I hit 13,498 words with my Journal Your Way book. and then kind of like wasn't sure what I was going to do with it, and just kind of, I was just kind of flouting around really and struggling with a lot of stuff. And so I just stopped at 13,498 words, which is a lot of words, to be honest. But it's still not finished. I'm not even sure where I got up to with it. I don't leave myself very good notes. So when I was doing Journal Your Way, I was writing, each chapter was a journaling prompt, like a journaling exercise, and it was explained, and then there was given examples, and I think I was working my way through actually adding the examples. So it was a bit more, I'm very jumpy, like I jump around from project to project and page to page. I've just realised this now, I've gone back to Project MJ, that I'm not very good with the flow and stuff, so I'm trying to work on a step-by-step process to help me get through these projects. So I had Project MJ, which got to, I've literally just hit 4,439 words as of the 12th of September for that, because I added an extra, I added an extra 3,000 words I think last night. Yeah, so I did an extra 3,851 words yesterday. I wrote about just under 800 during a co-writing call, and then afterwards I got really into it, and it ended up being 3,851 words in total, so which is really good, and I'm really pleased with the progress for that. And then I had started a third writing project, which actually might come out a lot faster than the other two, because it's not based on word count. It is, what am I referring to it as? I'm referring it as to Project PU. It's probably not a good name. It's Project PU, and my goal for that is to have 365 chapters, and currently I've hit 101 chapters. I've literally only just started it when did I start Project PU? I started that on the 11th of September, and I wrote 2,955 words in those first 101 chapters. So it's not going to be a huge amount of words. It's probably going to be about maybe 10,000 words when I finish it, and I would really like to get that out this year. Project MJ is also a goal. Like, I joined a co-writing group with the goal that we're going to self-publish or publish somehow our books for the end of the year, before the end of the year, hopefully. And I think I haven't spoken to everybody on the group, because we can all do different things, balancing our businesses as well, and when we can get on the calls, so we don't always get on together. That I think I've written the most out of everyone, but I started mine a year ago, whereas it looks like everybody else has started theirs now. But they're quite fast writers as well, so they'll probably be finished before me. So what I did with Project MJ is I sat down and I created an outline, because before I just had literally like chapter 1 is about this, chapter 2 is about this, and it was literally just like very brief, whereas then I've gone back and I've gone, right, okay, chapter 1's about this, and these are 3 points that I want to include in that chapter, and I've done it for all the chapters. I can't remember how many chapters there are, because like I say, I jump back and forth between all the chapters. There are 21 chapters for Project MJ at the moment, not including an introduction and a conclusion. There are a couple of ideas for some extra chapters, but currently there are 21 chapters. So yeah, I've done at least 3 bullet points. I think a couple of them have 4, and some of them, it's working out really well. So I've finished the first draft of chapter 1, chapter 2, and I'm nearly finishing chapter 3 right now. I just need to decide that whether or not it's going to be purely inspirational or it's going to be educational as well. And I'm leaning towards maybe a bit of educational thrown in there as well to make it a bit more interesting. But the first 3 chapters, the first chapter has 3,101 words at the moment. Chapter 2 has 1,538 words, and chapter 3 has 2,518 words. So there's a bit of a inconsistency, and I haven't finished chapter 3 yet. It's telling me it's chapter 4 because the introduction has come up as chapter 1, and I need to change that and make that the, you know, preface kind of thing, so it'll do the chapters properly. So I think some chapters might be longer than the others, but I think sometimes that happens anyway. And I'm doing my absolute hardest and damnedest not to go back and be like, right, chapter 1's finished, so I need to go through and edit it. I need to finish the whole goddamn thing. According to my word count, I'm 48% of the way through Project MJ because I put in 30,000 words as my thing, and I put my due date as the 21st of December, so technically I only have to write 216 words a day to finish on time. But if the idea is that we want to finish and publish before the end of the year, then I probably need to have it moved forward. But I will see if it's as long as it's finished by the end of the year. That, I think that is my main goal for Project MJ, to have it finished before the end of the year, because I've been working on it for so long. I know there's a big gap between writing and stuff, so yeah. So I have 3 projects that I'm working on right now. 2 of them are actual books that are going to get published. 1 is going to be turned into a course, and I need to look back and see where I'm up to date with that. And I'm kind of excited to be doing this and working on this and sharing it with you and taking you along my journey of doing this and attempting to self-publish, because yeah, it's hopefully going to be fun, and hopefully not too much of me crying and hitting my head against a wall for struggling. I am really self-critical and big on the self-doubt, and yeah, struggling last year with my mental health and depression. It is a lot better now than it was, but there are still, you know, sometimes there are still spirals, there are still things that set me off and send me down a bit of a spiral, and I'm still learning how that balances with my writing, because I know how it balances with other stuff in my life, but figuring out how it works with my writing is another piece altogether. So I have a beautiful new coffee table that I've hidden books inside and under, and my paint by numbers stuff, which is my self-care stuff, and my nail care stuff, and other stuff in there. And I'm just so excited to use this coffee table to work on. I don't know if it's going to work out really well as I want to do, because I'm going to have to be really propped up with lots of cushions behind me when it comes to actually writing on the desk with it pulled up. I'll show you. Probably the easiest way, I'll show you. So now the desk is pulled up and it's at a good level, but I've got all this space here from my back, so I'm gonna have backache. I think is going to be my biggest problem with writing on this. I have figured out that I can kind of rest my laptop on the edge and still sit back and write, so yeah, that is a helpful thing, hopefully. But for short sprints of just, you know, 30 minutes or something, if I'm writing down here, then it's not too bad to I can feel the pull in my back where I've already been working and doing it. So we'll see how much work I actually get done on this coffee table extension bit compared to just curling up on the sofa and writing in general, or I end up back at my desk. We shall see. So I have this word count tracker in Notion that I use to track all my projects and my writing sessions. So I have the dates here. This is someone else's word count tracker, and I just downloaded it for free from them. I can't remember whose it was. If I find it, I will link it. But I do mostly like it. I think it works better for your writing fiction, to be honest, though. So I've got the date here, and then the projects here, and the words that I've written here. And then I haven't done this until, well, I did it at the beginning, and then I've not done it until the end. I've not been writing what I've been working on. I've just realised that that's probably a good thing to do. And then I'm writing down the session that it is. So these all look out of order because they're for each different project. So I was on session 10 for Journal Your Way, but session 3 for Project MJ, and session 1 for Project PU. Then at the other side here, you can have goals for how many words you want to write in total, I presumed it was. And now I've just realised I've said that. It actually probably meant how many words you wanted to write for that day or that session. But I'm sure in their example they put the total goal, and then that was always, they've done the math, so that was the difference of how many words you had left to write for your goal. Like I said, now I think about it, it makes more sense if I'd said that I wanted to write like 250 words and I'd written 5,000 words, then it would be a plus. I've always put in how many words I planned the book to be, but it doesn't make sense because it's never gonna add up properly, is it? Because like down here, like I'd put my goal there, I had put my goal there as writing 1,000 words. I wrote 1,630, but then it was telling me I was minus 360 words, which made it seem like I was 360 words short, when in fact I was 360 words up. So yeah, I'm not quite sure about this bit here. And then this bit here is, like I said, I think it's meant more for fiction writers than non-fiction writers. You can pick your chapters, your scenes, and you can individualize each chapter, like chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, etc. So you can always say that you were working on, which chapter, so you knew what you were working on. But I'm not very methodical with the way I write, and it doesn't matter if it's fiction or non-fiction. So these little pencil symbols I've left on indicate when I was writing fiction. I've not put them down here. But if they're not on, then I was writing non-fiction. And I added some Substack article writing that I did in here in the January, but I've not kept on top of adding those into my word counts for how many words I'd written, so I can eventually see I wrote this many words this year. But so the whole point of this was, when you go into this session, well, I've named them sessions, other people had written things like how things felt and stuff like that, but in the template you get the writing session reflection questions that you can answer about: did you meet your word count goal for the day, did you experience writer's block, challenges, distractions and things like that. So yeah, that probably does mean that should have been the goal, but then it still comes up with a negative. So like if my goal was 1,000 words, then that should have said that it's negative by 349, not, it makes it seem like it's positive. I don't get it. If you know, let me know. But yeah, that's the template that I'm using for my word count at the moment. And I am finding it really helpful when I'm writing.